saying all sorts of interesting things, including in Dallas, where new head coach Brian Schottenheimer said his Cowboys are not running away from Super Bowl expectations.
I don't get caught up in the drought. This is 1 year. I mean, this is the first year of mine. I mean, I've been here a couple of years. But, you know, when the season's over, we move on. Are we going to win the Super Bowl this year? I hope. I think we are. If we don't, you move on.
Can this team's past ever be burdensome with the Super Bowls and the expectations and all that? Do you ever think that weighs on guys?
I don't think so. Not when the head coach sits up here and talks about the ultimate goal to win a world championship. You know, I think it's to be celebrated. We won the Super Bowl, and we don't hide from that.
There's Brian Schottenheimer, who, aside from his last name, is not the best-known head coach in the NFL, but you know him well, having covered him.
Look at Shotty sitting there like, I know I'm a rookie head coach. I'm not new to this. You know who my father is. Also, we covered Shotty when he was with Rex, and he predated Rex. He knows how quickly the tide can turn as far as the direction of a franchise. What you want is a guy sitting there, new head coach, saying, we don't shy away from expectations. We know exactly what it is because he's telling you, I'm telling them behind closed doors, you don't even have to ask me about it. You don't have to ask them about it because we talk about it. And Jerry Jones, his presence looms large in that building. His voice, obviously we hear it once a week, probably twice on Sundays and then Tuesdays and all that. He's made it clear. I need to get a Super Bowl again. And I think Shotty, we don't know much about him as a head coach, the rest of the world, but I think we got a glimpse into why maybe the Cowboys felt like, yeah, he is the right guy for this.
What do you think, Lewis?
Look, I don't think he's out of place, or it's like, you know, it's some kind of, you know, that he misspoke when he said that, you know, having Super Bowl expectations is something he's talked to his football team about, and obviously everybody down there is aware of. They have a history. We know it's a distant history. We know it's been a long time since they really have been in the Super Bowl talk. But look, contrary to what everyone, you know, might believe, I think every football team goes into the offseason thinking as though with a few moves we can be in contention. Because that's the way the league is set up. It's intended to be that way. Now, you may think that some owners and some general managers aren't necessarily making the moves that put you in those positions, but it's out there for you to have. Dallas, I'll tell you what, they catch the right breaks. This offensive line comes along the way it's supposed to. This wide receiver core is able to stay intact and stay moving in the same direction. This defense is able to play better in November and December instead of getting bludgeoned like they have in the past against physical football teams. They can be right there, just like many, many other teams can be. So I don't think, look, him talking about Super Bowl, I could not care less. And quite honestly, I think he is on the right track with the message that he's delivering.
I was skeptical of the hiring process
Yes.
in Dallas, and I have been cynical of the way it all went down, and that, okay, Shotty's convenient, we know him, he's not going to run. But he's thrown a no-hitter this offseason. In every single moment, he's been at that podium in front of the camera talking about culture, acting the same way every single day, being consistent, and I love this. I also, Kimberly was there with the Jets. I was with the Giants when Eli Manning was asked, do you think you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league? And Eli Manning said, yeah, I do. And people freaked out and said, what do you want him to say?
Right.
What if Shotty came out and said, you know what, Super Bowl might not be the goal.
Yeah.
We're looking to compete this year with the Giants and the Commanders for maybe second place because the Eagles, this is what you want from a head coach, especially.
And especially with that team, the expectations and the attention are going to come in Dallas regardless of whatever it is the coach said in June. Here are two advantages that Brian Schottenheimer has, I think, walking in. He's a first-time head coach. That's unavoidable. But he has two things going for him. One, he's been around forever. This is not like a guy who was an assistant for 6 years. Brian Schottenheimer's been in the NFL actively and working in the NFL for decades. He also, and we have J.B. Bickerstaff with us here this morning as well, and we've constantly pointed it out, he quite literally grew up in this.
Yeah.
His father's one of the winningest coaches of all time, so he quite literally grew up with this. He's had a long time to be prepared to think about how am I going to answer the question when I'm the head coach someday and they ask me about the Super Bowl. And that's what he came up with, and I like it. Now, the question is it realistic? And I will say the answer, let's not go all the way to Super Bowl.
Yeah, let's not.
Let's talk about, can the Cowboys be a really good team this year? And I think there's two keys. One, Dak Prescott has to be healthy. That goes without saying. You could say that about most teams in the NFL. Whenever he is, they're good. Lewis, the other one is this George Pickens thing.
Yeah.
This could go one of two ways, and the coach might have a lot to do with it.
No doubt.
And maybe not. If it works out, if they caught lightning in a bottle with a guy in a contract year who finally gets it, this offense could be pretty good.
It's either going to be great or it's going to be a problem. It's not going to be middle of the road.
Right.
It's either George is going to be catching 16 per reception and making those ridiculous one-handed catches outside the numbers, and him and CD will play off each other, or it's going to be one of those where Brian Schottenheimer is going to be answering a lot of questions about why isn't George getting the ball, why is George seem upset, why was George talking to you on the sideline. That's what it's going to be. Even more so than this, though, look, I still believe this about Dallas. Dallas will go as this offensive line goes, which has the potential with all the high-round draft picks to be one of the best in the NFL. And on the defensive side, again, how many times have you sat here in November and December and had discussions about the fact that Dallas just can't play the physical game in December and January? They can't do it. And if that's been corrected, Dallas will be right there. They'll be contending in the division. Those are the
They
questions.
got bullied last night.
That's right.
They got bullied.
That's right.
There are a lot of questions facing the Cowboys, not just the quarterback, not just the Pickens of it all, but I like that Dak is the entrenched guy. In Pittsburgh, there was a leadership void, particularly on offense. Even when you had Russell, you knew that Russell wasn't going to be there a long time. But also, their schedule, brutal. They start with the Eagles. The rest of the games get a little easier, and then their holiday slate is just terrible.
Yeah.
They face so many good teams. So I think the schedule, in addition to Shadi being a rookie head coach, we talk about the late game situations, game management and all that with the last coach McCarthy. I think Shadi will have to answer.
Final word on this one. Go.
I think Lewis said it right. It's all there for them, but a lot of things have to go their way.
Yeah.
They have to figure it out. Lose a Zach Martin and a Tyron Smith in back-to-back years, and just these veteran players. They drafted a lot of good young players. Those guys are gonna have to block the butts off.
It's the three Tylers, man. It's Tyler Guyton, Tyler Booker,
Tyler Smith. Yeah.
Tyler.
I mean, I sat there listening to Brian Schottenheimer. I'm like, that's a smart thing to say. I agree with him. There's nothing phony about it. There's nothing off-putting about it. There's nothing stupid or eccentric about what he had to say, whatever. Simple and plain. We wanted to win a Super Bowl. We don't hire from that. But damn it, it's been 29 years. I hope we win a Super Bowl. But if we don't, we're going to go back to the drawing board and come back and try it again. Well, dang. What am I going to say about that? He's giving me no ammunition. No ammunition. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody else. Dak Prescott, be very clear, America. Put Kimberly up on there. I want to see her. I ain't seeing them mouse. Come on now. Keep on the screen. Dak Prescott is the most useless quote in all of sports. Doggy, you can go back 4 years 4 years ago, Doggy. Kimberly knows this because I've said it many times. It don't matter whether it's 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. You can re-air the same quotes. Week 1, Dak Prescott after a win. This is what he gonna say. Week 1 after a loss, Dak Prescott. This is what he gonna say. Week 2, week 3, week 5, week 10, week 15. It doesn't matter. All you gotta do is go to the